Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Kombumerri people.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Thursday, February 20. In Squiz Kids Today, Operation Whale Rescue in Tasmania. Billie Eilish fever grips the country. The lake that's been loved to death, and the secret tunnel to Disneyland. That's what's making news, kids style.
The Lowdown.
In what could be a storyline from your favourite Octonauts episode, it was Operation Whale Rescue in Tasmania yesterday after more than 150 whales beached themselves on a remote part of the Apple Islands coastline. A pod of false killer whales, estimated to be more than 150 in number, had beached themselves near Arthur River yesterday morning. When a whale beaches itself, that means it swims up onto land and can't get back into the water. And although whales are mammals, and therefore they breathe the same oxygen that you and I breathe, they also need for their skin to be wet. Whales have an incredibly thick layer of insulating blubber, but without water to keep them cool, they overheat and dehydrate, which is a fancy word for saying that they lose all the water in their system that all mammals require to stay alive. Rescuers yesterday had rushed to the scene of the beaching, but it wasn't clear last night how many of the whales would eventually be saved. So why do whales beach themselves like this? And why is it often entire pods of whales that beach themselves? Well, scientists still don't have an exact answer, but one theory is that if the leader of the pod of whales is sick or injured and beaches itself, whales have such a close bond in their pod that they all follow suit. And here's a fun fact, even though they are called false killer whales, they are in fact part of the dolphin species.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in New Zealand, just across the ditch, where the world's clearest lake is being loved to death. National park rangers on the South Island of New Zealand have been forced to request visitors to Lake Constance clean their boots before visiting to protect the lake from an unwanted algae. Lake Constance has become a really popular tourist destination ever since it was declared to have some of the clearest water in the world. And of course, with popularity has come all of the world wanting to visit it, and because everybody wants to see it and have a selfie next to it, the very thing that makes it special is now in danger of being destroyed. There's a nasty algae which can be transported on the bottom of visitors' shoes. And this is why we've always got to be mindful of the natural biodiversity of any place we visit and be careful not to disturb it if at all possible. Or, as the saying goes, make sure the only thing you leave behind is footprints.
Pop Culture Corner.
Hands up if you're a Billie Eilish fan. And hands up if you, or one of your older brothers or sisters or cousins, is going to be among the thousands who attend her concerts here in Australia over the next couple of weeks. The singing sensation kicked off her Australian tour in Brisbane on Tuesday night, and the critics have been raving about it. Critics are people whose job it is to go and review things. Sometimes they review bands, sometimes they review restaurants. I know, right? Nice gig. The American singer-songwriter Billie Eilish, whose most famous and successful songs were written with her brother Phineas, will play 12 shows in Australia on this tour. 4 here in Brisbane, then 4 in Sydney, then 4 in Melbourne. All of which is especially cool because I'm going on Saturday night with my daughter Rosie. Now the only question is, what am I going to wear so as not to look like a daggy old dad?
News hounds.
Every Thursday, Squizzy the Newshound sticks his snout into Squiz Kids HQ to report back on fishy things he's sniffed out on the internet. because there are so many fishy things on the internet. And this week, his nose is twitching after stumbling across a TikTok video of a secret tunnel into Disneyland. What the what? I mean, hold the phone and stop the presses. There's a secret tunnel into Disneyland? That is unbelievable. Well, actually, it turns out that it is in fact unbelievable because it's not true. A fact-checking organisation called Snopes analysed the video and found that it was two separate videos spliced together. One of a man entering a dark cave, and then another completely different video of inside Disneyland Park in California, cut together to make it look like they are one single video. Now, worryingly, the video was watched more than 4 million times by people all over the world, so who knows how many silly people believed it was real. But not you, huh? Because I'm sure your classroom is among the almost 4,000 around Australia that has signed up to do Newshounds, Squiz Kids' very own completely free digital literacy classroom resource, teaching kids how to spot misinformation when they come across it online. If you haven't already, get amongst it via the Squiz Kids website. Woof!
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. What's the name of the lake in New Zealand with super clear water? Or at least for now. That's right, it's called Lake Constance. Question number 2. What sort of whales have beached themselves in Tasmania? Well done if you said fake killer whales. Question number 3. In which Australian city has Billie Eilish kicked off her Aussie tour this week? That's right, it's in Brisbane.
Shout-outs.
It's Thursday, February 20. Today is Rihanna's birthday. Happy birthday, Rihanna. It's also National Love Your Pet Day. But seriously, isn't that every day? It's also a special day for these Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today. Harrison from Yarraville, Sammy from Vermont South, Emily from Normanhurst, Samuel from Concord, Clarence from South Perth, Teddy from Wallabadar, Ava from Mansfield, Tate from Atwell, Alice who's travelling around Australia, and Franklin who's listening all the way over there in Westminster in England. And a jolly good morning to you, Franklin. And belated birthday shout-outs go to Parker from Langwarren and Fletcher from Atwell. And today's classroom shout-outs go to Class 5-6W with Mr. Wright at Bundaberg West State School, Class 5D with Miss Chand at the Willows State School in Kerwin. Oh, that sounds pretty. Class 5-6AM with Mrs. Murphy at Albury North Public School, and Grade 1 in Room 509 with Mrs. Church at the Hong Kong International School. Lovely to have you on board. And finally, a special shout out to Class 6D with Mr. Oberg at Cannon Vale State School. Mr. Oberg, it's great to be back in touch with you. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout out, or if you're after a classroom shout out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au or fill out the form on our website. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back again tomorrow with the Kids vs Adults Weekly News Quiz. In the meantime, get out there and have yourselves a most excellent day. Over and out.